Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May. Welcome to Lash Biz Babes, the podcast for solo beauty business owners who want to build a full clientele and create a business and life that they truly love. My name is Erica. I'm your host. I'm a lash artist turned beauty business coach, lash educator, and social media manager for salons and beauty businesses. I'm so happy that you're here. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. Welcome to this week's episode of Lash Biz Babes. My name is Erica. I'm your host, and this week we're going to be talking about the number one thing that you need to book new clients on social media or just online in general. And what that is local followers, local visibility. There's a few different pieces that you need to be able to book clients. So you need that local audience because you need people who are in your area who actually know that your business exists to be able to book with you. And you're a locally based service provider, so you can't book people across the country from you. You need local people in your audience, following your pages, knowing that your business exists, able to find your pages, whatever, to be able to book appointments with you. So that's one piece of it. And the next piece is content. You're letting them know why they should book with you. You're letting them get to know you, get to like you, get to trust you from the way that you're showing up online, right? Whether that's your website copy, your social media captions, your photos, your posts, whatever, your stories. It doesn't matter. That's all nurturing them to become a client of yours, right? Then you also need easy booking. So they need to be able to find things like where you're located, what services you offer, what your availability is like, how to book with you, all of that. You need a really easy booking system. So this is why I always recommend online booking for this because it checks all those boxes for you. Makes it really easy for yourself and for potential clients to book with you, right? So those are three main pieces that you need on social media. But here's the thing. Even if you are a really talented lash artist or esthetician, hairstylist, whatever services you offer, even if you're so talented at that, you have really good content, it's easy to book with you. If local people aren't finding your pages, they don't follow you, they don't know that your business exists, they cannot book with you. And that is why that makes this the number one thing that you need to be able to book new clients on social media is local followers, local visibility, local people getting their eyes on your content, on your pages, on your services to be able to book an appointment with you. So when I'm teaching about this, one of the things that I really like to point out about this is that a lot of beauty business owners feel like they need tons of followers, like thousands and thousands of followers, likes, views to be able to book new clients. And unfortunately, views don't pay the bills and they don't automatically equate to bookings. And the same thing with followers. Just because you have 20,000 plus followers or 5,000, 10,000 followers or whatever, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to book clients easily. I'm not saying those two are mutually exclusive. You can have a lot of followers and be able to book new clients consistently. Absolutely. But it all comes down to who is following you. Could you offer services to your local area as a lash artist, hairstylist, esthetician, right? And so you need local people to book appointments with you. So if you go viral and get 1 million views, and most of them are from people who are out of state from you, out of the country from you, they're random men, spam, bots, manufacturers, whatever, they can't book appointments with you. So you're not going to be able to make money. So what's going to make a difference for you to actually book clients and make money and make use of all the time you're spending on social media to market your business is focusing on building a local following. So that's what we're going to talk about today is different ways that you can do that and what that actually looks like, okay? First thing I want to talk about, and I wish I had, like, I could show you the visual for this because when I teach this, and I might have even shared this on the podcast before, but when I teach about this specific thing, I have this flow chart that I can show you and have a visual for it, but I'm going to try to explain it to you the best that I can. So the flow chart, it has three arrows on it. You have a blue arrow, a yellow arrow, and a red arrow all in a row. So it's like on the left, in the middle, on the right, right? So blue arrow, this is your cold audience. This is people who don't know who you are. They don't know your business exists. They've never heard of you before. They don't know what services you offer, but they are local to you. They are interested in services like yours, right? But they just don't know about you yet. So that's your cold audience. In the middle is the yellow arrow with your warm audience. So this is where people are local to you, they're interested in your services, but they've heard about you before. They know who you are, maybe a little bit about you, a little bit about what you offer. Maybe they've consumed some of your content before, maybe they follow you on social media. They at least have a general idea. The next is your hot audience. So these are people who know you, like you, trust you, they know who you are, they know what you offer. Maybe they've inquired about booking before, maybe they've come in for a service in the past, but they are like your people who are booking, wanting to book. They know who you are, they're local to you, they're interested in your services, they're ready to book with you, right? That's your hot audience. So your goal with your marketing strategy is to move people through this flow chart of cold audience to warm audience to hot audience. And sometimes you will have it happen to where someone's like in your cold audience and they go into your hot audience right away because they've already decided to get that service done. They're just looking for someone to book with. Maybe they find your page on social media and then they immediately book with you. So that can and does happen, but the point of social media specifically is to kind of be moving people through this flow chart consistently. When you're moving people from your cold audience into your warm audience, and your warm audience really is your like warm space on social media. So your social media is that warm space where you are letting them get to know you, get to like you, and get to trust you with your content, the way you show up, your stories, all of those kinds of things. When you're moving people from cold audience into warm audience, that's the audience growth piece of your marketing strategy. And it's a very important part of a marketing strategy because people obviously need to know that your business exists or be able to find it online to be able to book an appointment with you. That's one of the key pieces of a marketing strategy that I recommend you focus on if you are needing to book new clients in your business. Or maybe if like you're like, okay, well, I have local followers online, Erica, but I'm feeling kind of stuck. I'm feeling kind of plateaued. I have these openings. No one's really booking them. I'm not getting bookings from social media consistently. Then that's when you can also work on your audience growth piece. Because even if you have like a good base of local followers, you can still be expanding that reach to bring new people in. So this is especially important if you need a consistent flow of new clients. So if you're a lash artist, you typically have clients who are coming in every, 2 to 4 weeks or so steadily if they're coming back to you again and again. That's where, like building loyalty into your clientele and giving them a really good client experience comes in because repeat clients are what pays the bills as a lash artist and builds consistency and reliability in your revenue and your income. But if you offer other services than just lashes that maybe the clients don't come in as often, or even if you are a lash artist, if you do have spots that open up for people moving or going somewhere else, taking a break, whatever the reason may be, even if you are typically a fully booked lash artist, you will have new client spots come open sometimes that you need to fill. Either way, whether you have spots you need to fill or maybe you offer services where clients don't come in as often. So if you offer like microneedling, if you're a hairstylist, if you do maybe facials or something where they're just not coming in as consistently, then you are going to need a heavier flow of new clients coming in consistently. And so that's where you have to really be staying on top of your marketing and building your local audience because you are constantly going to need new people in your area to know about your business, that you exist, so that they can book an appointment with you. That's why it's really important to always be focusing on building your local visibility, building your local following, building your local brand recognition so that you can have that consistent, steady flow of new leads coming into your business. Now, if you are a lash artist, make the goal more so not that you always need to be getting new clients, but that you're also retaining those clients once you get them. You shouldn't always have to be getting new clients constantly, constantly, constantly. The goal really is to have like your set base clientele that you are just filling in the gaps here and there when you have a new client opening on occasion. And if you do get to the point where you do have mostly full books and you don't really have a lot of room for new clients, I would still recommend having some type of wait list instead of closing off your books completely so that you can have leads to directly contact, those hot leads basically to contact when you do have openings, because that's going to help you be able to fill those spots easier and more consistently when they do come open. So this is something that no matter where you're at in your business, whether you're new, whether you've been at it for a little while, whether you're experienced in advance and you've kept yourself booked for a while, this is still something you're going to have to work on consistently, is building your local following and your local brand visibility. There's honestly so many different ways that you can do this because it's not even just online things that you can do to build your local visibility and your local following and all of that, but you can also be doing like in-person things as well. So don't let me make you feel like you have to be doing the social media, you have to be doing it this only this way, or this is, this is what you should be doing, whatever. You can decide what works the best for you. If you don't love social media or whatever, that's fine, but you still need that local visibility to be able to build your business, be able to build your clientele consistently. So you need to just kind of shift to what can I be doing in person to be building that up? How am I helping word of mouth spread? For me personally, I just don't love when people are like, oh, word of mouth, just let that build your business for you. Because then you're just putting the power of growing your business in someone else's hands. Not necessarily anything wrong with that, but you have little to no control over how quickly or how much your business actually grows in that way. And so there's some things you can do to encourage word of mouth, obviously, with like referrals and, referral programs and all of that kind of stuff. But I just personally, I want more power in my own hands of how fast and how much I can grow my business. Like, and I want more control over that. That's why I feel like word of mouth is not the only way you should rely on your business growing. There's other things you can be doing, going to in-person events, networking events in your area, getting to know people. You can also be doing like business cards, put flyers up, or collaborate with different business owners in your area. There's so many things that you can be doing too. So don't feel like you have to fit in a box on any of this, but I am going to share some of the ways that helped me build my clientele the fastest as a lash artist and be able to build my local following the fastest, and what's worked best for our clients, our social media management clients, for this as well. So for me as a lash artist, my clientele built really slowly when I was not focusing on having local followers on Instagram. So this was back in like 2014, 2015, 2016, when Instagram was like the biggest thing to be able to grow your business on. And I just felt like at that time, I didn't really know what I was doing on social media. They don't really teach you a lot of that in school, especially back then when it wasn't as popular of a thing to grow your business on, and it wasn't like it is today. And so you really didn't learn about this stuff. So what I ended up doing a lot was, and I feel like what a lot of people ended up doing back then too, was you end up just kind of following what other people are doing and copying that. So your page layout is the same, your posts, you're doing the filler posts, you have your page aesthetic, all this, that, and the other. And that didn't help me really build my business very much. It built very slowly, my clientele did. And I just did lashes part-time from home on top of working my 8 to 5 job at the time. And so that was great. That's what worked best for me at the time. And that's all I could really take on at the time because that's the clientele that I had. But when we moved, so end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we had moved to a new city. And honestly, we had tried to move before that to Wyoming. That's a whole other story. I don't even know if I've talked about that on here before. I might have. I probably have. I just don't remember. But anyway, we had tried to move to Wyoming. I actually did build a wait list there, but I never actually started lashing there. But I did have a wait list of people, and that was from doing outbound engagement on Instagram, right? So that's where I'm getting at as well. When we moved to a new town, so we moved to St. George, Utah, I didn't really know anybody there. We didn't really have friends or family there very much. I was building from ground zero, starting back up again. And I knew I really wanted to do lashes, and I didn't want to have to get another job, which we were kind of in the position where, like, okay, you either need to grow your lash business or you need to go get another job. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go all in on my lash business. So I actually deferred my student loan at the time, which when I think back on this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this was actually kind of crazy and delusional. And I'm sure I would do it again if I had the opportunity presented or I wanted to, because I know I could do it because I've done it in the past. But like, I don't know, just when I think about the position of where I was in and how slowly my clientele had built before that, like I literally at that time had zero proof that building a clientele from ground up was going to be possible for me in any like period of time. Like obviously over the span of years, sure, but at the time like I had no proof of possibility at the time. So this just and when I look back on this, I'm like, wow, that was wild. Like I was very go-getter on that. But anyway, I deferred my student loan payment and I rented out a small studio room to be able to do lashes out of. And I had zero clients on my books at the time, mind you. It wasn't a huge rent payment, so it's not like I was really putting myself too far out there. But when you're having zero revenue coming in at the time and you don't have anyone on your books at all, and you're giving yourself an added $400 expense for a space that you don't even know if you're going to be able to use it because you don't have any clients, that was a little like, okay, what are you doing with your life, right? So the space was $400. And I kid you not, it's the tiniest room. I don't even remember. It was like less than 100 square feet or something like that. And it didn't have any windows. Like it was tiny, okay? I deferred my student loan payment for the month. I rented this space and I was like, okay, we're just going to go at it. And this kind of gave me external motivation to build my clientele because, like, okay, now I have to pay another $400 in a few weeks. So, what am I going to do to make that money? So I was like, okay, I really have to like bust my butt and get going. And what I started doing was outbound engagement with local accounts on Instagram. So basically, how I look at it is that you're networking with local people online. You're basically going out online and trying to make friends with people in your area. Okay, so I knew in my brain, like social media is free. I can get my name out there fast, and I like social media. So it's something that like I enjoy being on it. I enjoy posting. So like that's where I feel aligned to grow my business on. And I just felt like that could get my name out there the fastest. And I remember talking with some people about this and they're like, this just sounds so crazy. I don't know if you could do it, blah, 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 blah. But in my brain, and I remember this so vividly, we were at the grocery store and I was like looking around at all the women in the store. Like there's so many different people who could potentially be my client. And I was doing the math and I only needed like 20 or 30 clients to be able to book out the hours that I had at the time. I was like, I can do this. Like I know I can do this. Like that's really not that many people if you really think about it with like the thousands of women who live in the area. And at that time, a lot of people were moving to that area too. So there was a lot of new people who would be looking for service providers. And in my brain, I'm thinking about that, right? So I was really gung ho about like I needed to build a clientele. I needed to get clients. So I was doing 30 minutes a day of outbound engagement. Now, I don't necessarily feel like you have to do 30 minutes a day of outbound engagement for it to work, but this is just what worked for me at the time and I really needed clients. So I was doing whatever I could at the time to make that a reality, even if that meant spending a full 30 minutes doing outbound engagement each day. So when I teach this now, I'm like, okay, you don't necessarily have to do it for 30 minutes a day. You could pick like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day and do it. But that's just what I was doing. 30 minutes a day of outbound engagement. And within 6 weeks, I had 125 new followers in my new local area. So at the time, that was about 20% of my following. So about 1/5 of my following. So not too bad. And that's what I built my initial clientele out of was 125 local followers. That's what sparked the momentum of me being able to kind of like do the snowball effect on that and keep building and keep growing on that because not only was I able to get more local followers after that and more clients, but obviously then word of mouth starts to spread. People are referring their friends and their family, and you're starting to get clients from other avenues and resources as well. But that's really what sparked that momentum initially. So I started mid-January at that space and I didn't have any clients on the books for the rest of that month yet. I ended up doing a few clients towards the end of January, like that last week of January, because I was collaborating with some local businesses. And I think I maybe had like one other paid client other than that. And besides that, I was collaborating. Like I did a photographer's lashes, a hairstylist lashes, and then like we would had like traded services and such. And then in February, I started seeing people booking that I didn't know who they were, just random people, new clients booking. And some of those actually came from Google and some of them came from Instagram. But then continuing on, like into March, like it just kept going on, like momentum kept building on itself. And I just kept seeing more and more bookings. Now, this was 2020. So unfortunately, we all know how that year went down. And then COVID stuff started happening in March. And in our area, we actually were not required to close down completely. You could choose to if you wanted to, but if you stayed open, you just had strict guidelines that you had to follow for safety and health. I ended up closing for a month because I was pregnant at the time. And obviously, it was a little bit of a scary time. And like, you don't really know what's happening. Is this going to affect me or my baby? Like, what's going to go on? So I ended up closing for a month, which I was really nervous about because I had just started building my clientele again and it was going really, really well. But during that month, I continued to do the outbound engagement. I continued to stay consistent with the things that were working for me. And when I opened back up in April, like I was busier than before I closed down. Most of my clients came back to me, not all of them, but most of those clients came back after I opened back up. And then I had even more clients on the books by that point because I was continuing to do this outbound engagement during that time that I was closed. And so the moral of this story is like outbound engagement on Instagram with local accounts can seriously help you grow your clientele so fast and help you be able to build up that momentum with new people knowing that your business exists to be able to have them book as a client, right? And I'm not going to say this happens all the time because it only happened like once or twice for me where I had liked or commented on someone's post in my area and they ended up booking an appointment with me like 10 or 20 minutes later. So that doesn't happen all the time. I'm not going to say that's a guarantee, but that does happen. And that did happen to me a couple of times. So it's just cool the results that you can get from this when you're putting the time and the effort in to be able to get seen in your area, build your local following, and just let people get to know you and get to like you, get to trust you, get to know that your business is there and that it exists. And also just getting found by people who are looking for a service provider too, because typically if you're getting found in these searches, you have a higher likelihood of getting booked by them because usually they've decided that, yes, I want to get this service done. I just need to find somebody to book with. And then you're able to get the booking usually. So outbound engagement, that is one really great way that I was able to quickly build my clientele back in 2020. Other ways that have worked really well for myself and for some of our clients are local Facebook groups. So you'll see people who are looking for like a recommendation for a lash artist, hairstylist, esthetician, spray tan artist, nail tech, whatever, and they'll be looking for a recommendation for that. Now, these posts do typically get a lot of comments on them. So sometimes I feel like beauty professionals feel a little discouraged. Like, what's the point in commenting on these things because they're not going to book me? There's so many other recommendations on here. But the thing about it is that if you put together a really well formatted, well thought out response to this, you take the couple extra minutes to type it out, it can really make a big difference for your business to not only get that original poster potentially booking with you or following you on your social media pages, but other people who are in these groups to be able to follow you or book with you as well. Because local Facebook groups are literally a gold mine of people who are in your area. And it's a great place to build local brand visibility and just brand recognition, letting people know that you exist. Not only can you potentially get people booking, but you can also get a lot of local followers to your social media pages from these posts as well if you're doing it correctly. And I think the main thing that I want to point out right now on the podcast is just that you need to be leaving clickable links on these posts when you respond to them because they are going to get a lot of responses. And if you're just saying, hey, go look me up on Instagram or hey, I do lashes, message me or whatever, they're probably not going to go to your page first. They're not going to manually look up every single person who comments on their posts. So if you can give them a clickable link, like yours is the first page they're going to click on and the first person they're going to consider booking with because you made it easy for them to get to your pages, right? So I always recommend leaving clickable links on these posts. Yeah, local Facebook groups. Do not sleep on those. So my husband's electrical business, if you didn't know this already, my husband is an electrician and we went full time with his electrical business last June in 2025. And a huge reason why we've been able to let him go full time and be able to keep him consistently busy for the most part over the last almost a year now is from Facebook groups. So the first 6 months of him being full time in business, we were able to get $150,000 worth of leads from local Facebook groups. So that is leads. So for electrical businesses, you typically do estimates or bids first. So you go out and you let them know, okay, this is how much I would charge you to do this project, and then they can decide to book you for the project or not. So that's not necessarily all, though not every single one of those leads booked with him. But, like, my job as his, like, office marketing manager, whatever you wanna call it, is to get him a chance to bid on these jobs, and we were able to do that, a lot of that from Facebook groups, and we consistently get new leads, new jobs, new estimates, like, new jobs booked from Facebook nearly every single week. And he's getting to the point where he's almost getting calls to go do bids and estimates or, service calls or whatever, almost every single day. I would say probably at least 3 to 5 days out of the week, he's getting calls from local Facebook groups. And the same goes for lash artists or any other service providers because it's very even though he's not in the beauty business, obviously, he's still trying to attract local people and offering services. So it's very similar marketing in the sense of like it's a service-based business in a local area. So it's gonna be the same for like lash artists and all of that. If you're staying in these consistently and commenting on them, putting together a really well thought out response, you have a lot higher chances of building your local following on your social media pages and booking new clients from these as well. And the more that you're commenting on these posts, the more that Facebook realizes that you like those things, those types of posts, and they'll put them at the top of your feed for you. So you don't even necessarily have to go looking for them. It's just going to be right there for you. So that makes it even easier for you. So local Facebook groups is definitely a great way to be building your local following and your local visibility and also booking new clients. The third one that's working really well for a lot of our social media clients right now is actually TikTok. And I've done a few episodes on this recently. So if you've listened to those, you probably know, I've been talking about that and that it is working really well. A lot of that comes down to including your location in the videos in one form or another. But the thing about this is like, if it's not necessarily about going viral with these videos, but I've seen some people call this like going locally viral, and that really is more so the goal on TikTok is to get a lot of people in your area seeing your videos because even a video that gets maybe 3,000 views, which really isn't, it gets a decent traction on the video, but it's not necessarily viral. But if that's like 3,000 views from people who could potentially book with you in your area, that's pretty good. But even like for my husband's electrical business, we've done some videos and gotten a lot of bids and estimates and jobs from that as well. But yeah, going locally viral is more so your goal on TikTok. I've seen people who have gotten like 30 plus new bookings from one video. And we also had a podcast listener who reached out. She had followed some of the prompts that I gave you guys in one of the TikTok episodes the end of last year, and she got like over, I can't remember how many new followers it was, but it was quite a bit. I would have to look it up, but she got a ton of new local followers. She got 6 clients, new clients who booked from that video and just a lot of local traction with that. So it's just really cool to see the difference that it's making. I think TikTok is just one of the best platforms for audience growth right now because they actually put your videos in front of the people who you want seeing them, right? So definitely is a great way to build your local following and to be able to get new clients booking. New clients booking is all about building your local following, getting that local visibility. And these are a few of the different ways that have worked the best for my own businesses and for our social media management clients' businesses over the last several years. And if you're interested in learning more of like the step-by-step strategies on how to do this, on like how to do outbound engagement, where to go looking for local accounts, like how to be engaging with them, things like that, how to put together your responses to local Facebook group posts, like TikTok, all of that. I actually have an online course that teaches you all about this called Audience Growth Accelerator. It teaches you all of the Instagram outbound engagement, how to optimize your Instagram profiles, how to connect with your followers to be able to get them to know you, like you, trust you, be able to book with you. And then also, exactly step by step how to put together your Facebook recommendation post responses. So if someone's looking for a lash artist on Facebook, like how to read and analyze their post and write your response back to get the most traction with getting people, local people, to follow your pages, and also hopefully getting some of them to book with you. And then also like TikTok, it talks a little bit about TikTok and a little bit about threads as well. So I just added a new 57-minute masterclass to this course on top of the normal course content. I taught a masterclass about building your local following at Nails and Lash Expo in April 2025 in Florida. I recorded that whole masterclass and now it's included in the Audience Growth Accelerator online course. So if you're listening to this and you have taken this course before, because I know so many of you have, you do have access to the new masterclass that was just added. Go log into your Stand Store account and you'll be able to access that. And just as a side note for any students who are listening to, we did switch online course platforms from Teachable to Stand Store in the fall of 2025. If you haven't switched over and made your new account on Stand Store, you should have gotten an email to be able to create your account over there. If you didn't, or you're having any issues accessing any of your past courses, let me know and I will help you get access to that. Reach out to me on Instagram at exoericashram and I can help you get that access. But online course, and I do have that on sale if you are listening to this in like current time. It is on sale for only $99 right now, and it's normally $222. So that'll get you access to the full course, plus the bonus masterclass, and then any new content that's added to it or any updates to the course that are added to it in the future, you get lifetime access to all of that. I'm going to leave the links for those in the show notes so you can go join the course if you would like to, but that teaches you step by step all of these strategies that we've talked about today of like what's working, what's not, what to do, what not to do, and how to make it work the best for your business, because having a local following seriously is so important for your locally based service business. So if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, but thank you so much for listening. And even if you don't take the course, just think about what can I do today to build my local following. And I would say pick, 3 or 5 days minimum out of the week to make sure you're doing something to build your local visibility, to get new local followers, to try and get seen in your area. So that way you can consistently be getting that visibility and also hopefully getting some more bookings out of that, because you're going to have more people knowing that your business exists. So I love you. Have the best day. And thank you so much for listening.